Debt tip number 1, if you are dealing with multiple kinds of debts, you can consolidate them all to reduce the amount owing. That is called a consumer proposal, and it's something here at Spergel that we can help you with. Debt tip number 2, a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, so an amount that you can borrow based on the value of your home, should be used for things like increasing the value of your home, renovations and things of that nature. It shouldn't be used to finance your day-to-day living needs because you'll soon find yourself in a situation that you can't get out of. Debt tip number 3, save your medical receipts. You can claim your medical receipts, and if they exceed 3% of your net income, they will increase the basic personal tax credit that you're entitled to on your yearly tax return. Debt tip number 4, the overdraft on your checking account should only be used in an emergency situation and not as a day-to-day funding of your living expenses. If you find yourself in that sort of situation, you need to come and speak to a professional such as myself. Debt tip number 5, if you find yourself using newer credit cards to pay off older credit cards, you'll find yourself in a downward spiral that'll be very difficult to climb out of. Debt tip number 6, if you find yourself making only the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, you'll find that you're actually only paying some of the interest and not eating into that original debt that you owed. As a result, it's going to take you a lot longer than you think to pay off this debt, and there are other options available to you. Debt tip number 7, you have rights as a consumer, and it's important to know what those rights are, especially with regards to collection calls that can be harassing you on a daily basis. You have options to deal with them, and seeing a licensed insolvency trustee is one of the ways to stop those calls. Debt tip number 8, get any agreement in writing. If a debt collection agent is calling you and pressuring you to make an arrangement on the phone, know that they can change that arrangement at any time. If you come to see a licensed insolvency trustee, any arrangement that we make with your creditors is a legally binding agreement that they cannot change in the future. Debt tip number 9, tax debt can cost you a lot more than the original amount owing. If you get a letter from CRA, you need to deal with it immediately because the amount of interest and penalties can end up costing you anywhere between 5 and 50% of the original debt. Speak to a professional about how to deal with these debts. Debt tip number 10, if you have more debt than you can manage, there is a debt consolidation option available, and it's called a consumer proposal. You can file one with a licensed insolvency trustee, and it'll reduce the total amount you owe by up to 70%.